All right. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Coffee Q&A, your daily dose of coffee Q&A here in the OnoCoffee Challenge, your host. And today we're back with another week of, well, maybe partially a week, of live streams here talking about coffee. And today, as Naomi says, great timing, I need to do this too. Currently cleaning my Bambinos, though, so I can finally switch it out with the E61. Ooh, very nice. So, as you may know, I have this La Valentina E61 that I bought back in like 2002, and it's been a great machine overall. Let me just, I've got a little bit of a different setup today to make it a little bit easier to see what we're going to be doing. Here we are, right there it is, the E61, and it's been a great machine. And what's there to say with E61, meaning that the E61 is this group head from Faema that Faema made in 1961. So it's a cast brass group head that has chrome plating, and it's just been a really solid workhorse for decades now. And basically, why is it so great? Because the brass casting allows heat retention and stability, and it's just a big, massive thing. If you were to ever see one of these like in the wild, meaning that it's just the group head itself, it's super heavy duty. It's weighty, it's massive, it's just really got a lot of great things going for it to keep thermal stability for making espresso. Now, of course, this is 1961 technology. It's not the new fangled stuff that we see today with all this digital controls. This was made to work with very manual, mechanical means of controlling temperatures. And so part of the reason part of the way that they overcame temperature fluctuation and things like that is to have large mass, right? Large mass is kind of the substitute for high-tech digital controllers that can adjust minute temperature details in rapid succession. So, Kent, how are you? Mom, good morning to you as well. So we're going to be doing some cleaning because my little espresso machine here has been, I mean, it's in good shape. Look at it, right? Like let's. It's in good shape overall. I mean, it's for a 20-some-year machine. It looks pretty good, I think. I think it's in good shape. But, I tend to be a somewhat neglectful owner-user when it comes to this machine, right? Mainly because it sits here at the house and just kind of hangs out. And, one of the things you want to do when you have an espresso machine that you're using is you want to do regular maintenance. And some of the regular maintenance that you need to do is cleaning the machine. So we're going to go over cleaning the machine as well as replacing the gasket. I did finally, because, what's been happening over the last several times we've used is that there's been leaking coming around around the group head, around the portafilter. And so as everyone knows, we have the portafilter, basket's on the inside. Now this rim of the basket seals up against a big gasket that is inside here. And that provides a watertight pressure seal to keep all of the pressurized water inside the coffee bed and force it through the perforations here down through the portafilter and out your spouts. However, after a time, that rubber gasket that surrounds the group head screen, the dispersion screen, will, rot and wear and, just get, old, and it gets hard and brittle. And because once it gets hard and brittle, it doesn't really hold on to its smushy characteristics, so it starts to leak. And that's why we get a lot of the leakings that we're seeing here. So once it gets to that point, no matter how much you actually push on this to lock it down, because I'm trying to put a lot of torque on it a lot of times, it will not change because, it will still leak because it's just too hard. It's already lost its luster. So we're going to replace that today as well. But what we're going to do is we're going to clean we have to do a periodic cleaning. So in a commercial environment, I got the snifflies today. In a commercial environment, we're cleaning the machine daily. At the minimum, we're cleaning the machine daily. In this environment, I haven't cleaned it in months. I will admit to that, which is terrible. But, if you think about it, let's say we're in a commercial environment making, 200 to 500 shots in a daytime. You want to clean it daily. I doubt we've made 200 shots on this in the past year, so it's not so bad. No, you should never go that long. You should really do this probably weekly, even if you're just making 1 or 2 shots a day. Cleaning it weekly will give you the best results for your espresso. So, keep that in mind. And it's really, really easy to do. Really, really simple to do. What made you opt for heat exchange? So what made me opt for this one is because in 2002, we did not have the range of machines that are available today. So I went to a company called First Line Equipment in New Jersey. They're still in existence. They still have machines for sale. And, at the time I was, operating a little business, and I wanted to bring coffee into that business. And this was going to be one of the most economical ways. Actually, one of my really good friends, Brian, was, he was really into coffee and espresso. And he was like, and he has this Solus Maestro, is that right? One of the super automatics, Solus Maestro 500, or Solus 500 or 5000 or something like that, really old school machine. It was relatively modern back then. But again, one of those ones you press the button, it grinds, it does everything for you. And he was all into it. So how did I really get into this? Is because he was all into coffee, and like we would sometimes go get coffee at this place called Bonjour Bakery here in Baltimore. I would get an Americano and some croissants, and and so he was like, and he had this machine at home, and I was thinking, okay, so I need to do coffee now. I even asked him, I said, hey, do you think this would work in my new shop or in my shop? And he's like, no. He's like, no, don't do that. This will not survive that. And I was like, really? It looks good. And good thing I listened to his advice. So I looked online, and I don't remember exactly how I came to the conclusion of buying this. At the time, this machine was $1,500 US. You could still get a machine, maybe like the Rockets and all of those, with still E61 group head, for relatively similar money, $2,000, $1,500, $2,000. I think they're still out there. So you can get a really great machine for similar money that I paid then, which if we count for inflation, which would be like, $2,500 to $3,000 today. But, I got it without necessarily knowing too much about what was guiding me on espresso machines. I read that the E61 was a good group head. Heat exchange machine. This is a heat exchange machine. I'm trying to think now in 2002, when I was really, really just getting into it, how much of this I actually knew, or even certainly didn't understand a lot of it, but how much did I know back then? Basically, I guess maybe the route that I took was that this looked like a good machine. It had all metal components, brass and boilers, brass plated components, chrome plated brass components. Everything was like solid from what I had figured out, and that's why I bought it. And it wasn't cheap. Like $1,500, especially back then, was a lot of money to be buying an espresso machine. So, but I figured buy something of high quality, and it should last. And it has lasted. I mean, we're in 2025. I bought this 23 years ago. It's still rocking today. Like, what issues have I had in this machine? So technically I've had 0 issues, except for the time when we had to fix this steam wand, right? I think we rebuilt the steam wand or replaced it. Not replaced it, but we remounted. I have to remount it. I have to tighten the bolt on it because I didn't do a good job here. But the only other thing that I had a problem with is, and I didn't use it for several months because of it, was because one day, well, first of all, there is a reservoir here. Let me show you. There's a reservoir that you fill. So this is totally self-contained. And the reservoir is back here. All right, so if I take this plate off, there's a reservoir right there. I think it holds like a gallon or so. And one day I let it run out because I'm a bonehead. And it ran out. And what happened was it stopped working, and I put more water in it and it wouldn't start. And I was like, oh man, I'm totally hosed. I must have blown up the motor, the pump. So I took it apart, took the pump out, bought a replacement pump, put it back together. Well, actually, it took me when I say I did all of this, we're now talking over a span of months, right? Like, I don't tend to do this very fast so I started with this machine at our shop. Within a year, I bought a La Marzocco Linea 3 group. And so this came back to the house and has been sitting here ever since with some other spurts. But for the longest time, this has been here. And so when I say that I was decided to replace the pump, I called up a company. I forgot who I called to get the new pump. And it took many, many months between me installing it and all that. And then I realized that, oh, the pump wasn't broken. It had just gotten airlocked, and you just needed to pump it to push the air lock through, or whatever it was. There was a whole procedure for it that I learned later, and I was like, oh man, I totally wasted my money and my time because I didn't understand it enough, right? So that's really it. So, but other than that, this machine has been rock solid, no issues, for 23 years. So the value for that $1,500 was tremendous. It's so I do recommend buying as nice a quality of product as you can, because I think it'll last long. Now, I don't know if like these Decents and Meticulous and all these cool stuff, the Morrow, sorry there, Anton, but I don't know how long they're going to last, because while they cost a lot of money, and I'm sure they're well made, you know, one of the things I think is really significant about this machine and machines like it is that it's super mechanical. There's very little electronics. Actually, there's no electronics in this one. This has a one of the old pressure plate type of temperature controllers. So it doesn't have PID. It doesn't have anything of those things. So there's very little for it to like really go wrong, and it totally just rocks forever. And I'm not terribly a good user, meaning that I'm not terribly ginger with things. I'm very like in a commercial environment, we're very tough on it. Actually, I pulled one of our old Linear 2 group out of storage over the weekend and brought it to the new shop to set it up. And I was like, looking at it, I was like, God, this machine is messed up. Like it needs a rebuild. Like I knew it needed a rebuild, but now that I'm looking at it again, I'm like, man, this needs a full strip down. My gosh, man, it's really it's in rough shape, but nothing that can't be fixed and made to look beautiful again, right? But anyway, so like this machine is, yeah. So I know everyone's really into the higher tech stuff, but I would say that these machines that are like this, the more mechanical machines, if you want something you can spend your money on, and you know, especially those of us now who are of advancing age and you want a machine that's going to last until you're dead, well, this is a good choice. Or a machine like this is a good choice. They no longer make the La Valentina, from what I've gathered. So something in this vein, I think, would be a way to go if you want. Like, but you know, the thing is that in modern times, you go on YouTubers and they're all talking about sexy machines. I can't say that this is like sexy in the way that modern espresso machines are sexy, right? Modern machines have the technology, they've got the digital screens, they've got all this programmability. So, I mean, like, that's super alluring, right? Like, it's just like cell phones. Do I want to buy a Nokia, an old like Nokia 4500, when I can get the iPhone, right? Like, you know, that's kind of where you have to kind of figure out what it is that you're into, right? I don't know, and you know, I'm one of those stalwarts. I haven't really tried a lot of these hyper modern machines deeply to know, like if there's so much you can do with a phone, modern iPhone over the Nokia, the old Nokia that I used to have. So there's a tremendous advantage to using it, right? Even though you toss it after 3 to 4 years, or at least I wait 4 years. I know some people replace theirs every year, but so that's something to consider. Just a thought. Andrew's with us. What's going on, man? How are you doing? Never says the Breville machines prompt you to clean the group head and a different prompt for descaling. I don't need to remember. Oh, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Russell, good morning to you as well. Martin's with us. Interesting thermostat on boiler hasn't filled. Yeah, this thermostat is one of those old pressure boil. I can see it's like a metal housing with a black cap on it. You you have to unscrew it and pull it off. It has to go straight up. And then there's a diaphragm in there, and you just kind of, you can access the diaphragm screw without having to take the cover off. But you just put your screwdriver in there, and there's no way to tell what it really is, right? Like you just got to adjust it, and then you need to use like a scase device or something like that. Or actually, you can just use like a cup. And we used to do this all the time before Greg built the scase device, was that we would take a styrofoam cup. In the days when we had styrofoam, we'd take one of those thermometers, we'd shove it through the wall of the little tiny styrofoam cup, shove it into the group head, hit the button, and let it run. And you kind of get a reading, especially when, those stupid ones are like all slow readings. So they were like, you're like, I think it's good, So now in the commercial world, as soon as we were able to move to PID, we moved to PID. Like my mentor, John Sanders, was one of the early adopters of PIDs back in like 2003. Like when I first met them, they were already, experimenting with PID controllers on their big Linea. And I was like, what is going on here? He's like, this is PID, bud. I was like, what? Crazy. I'm going to go get one. Fuji PID controllers. Fuji, what's it, PX3? Well, now we're talking 20-year-old technology. There's probably better ones out there, but that Fuji one was like hyper solid of a controller. But yeah, that's that thermostat. Is it a mirror an adjustable arm on the right side? Oh, yes. So I got this from YouTubers. Maybe it was Hoon or someone, but I have this because, a lot of people in the YouTubing world of espresso making, or at least they did maybe like 4 years ago, or into this whole thing where you put this here, and as you're standing, you can adjust, you can set it up, right? So that now, let me show you. Misa show you. So if I was sitting here, right, and I'm pulling a shot, I can look, and you can see here in the mirror that there's the spouts. I can see the spouts, or you can set it up so that you can see, I don't know, you can see the group head, right? You can see the group head down there. So if you don't want to bend over, right, like in my times, when I was a young barista, or not necessarily young, but when I was a inexperienced barista, you had to look under at the group head like that. Kind of hard, you had to bend over. So now that you get older, you're like, oh, aches and pains. You don't want to bend over, so you can use that. But this is actually kind of cool. I saw someone using this on YouTube somewhere, and I was like, that's gay. That's just dumb. Why am I going to do that? I'm not going to do that. And then I was like, I'm going to try it. I'm going to try it because you know what? It'd be kind of fun. See if it's good. So I got it, and it's cool. But I never use it. Like, you know why? Because here's the thing. You get this, and you got to set it up. And I guess you should be able to set it up so that you can use it in one manner, right? Let me see. You could set. But, here's the thing. I don't. So there it is. It's all set up now, ready to use. That's if I'm standing, well, that's if I'm standing here, right? You can see it, but I think it's because I never used one over the years. I just never use it. So it's like, I never think to look that way. And, I just tend to stand back. Here, I tend to do this, right? So let's say this is my POV, right? This is my POV. So I'm standing there. I load in the group head. I hit the brew button. I'm just going to stand back here and just watch the flow. I'm not really worried about what's happening under here. I just want to see this. Now, sometimes lately we've seen dripping come out of the back, which is part of the reason why we're doing this video today. But, it's not terribly, I don't find the use of the mirror to be that effective, or it doesn't really make much of a difference to me to see that whatever angle I could set with that. I don't know. I tried using it. I just never used it. So one of the things about maybe I'm hampered by the professional side of things, that you learn in a professional environment that you just need to eliminate the extraneous stuff. Like I said, okay, we got to make more drinks, so forget all of that, right? We just got to rock and roll. So I don't know how much that has on it. Naomi says, I'm hesitant to set up my machine because I need to find someone who can service the machine. No luck so far. Whenever I try to clean the group head with cleaner, it strips the lever portion of its lube. It strips, I'm not. Well, first of all, what cleaner are you using? And we're going to go through some of that, but let me know as we go, like what you're doing different or what you're doing similar, so that maybe we can help figure it out. Now, the thing about servicing the machine, one of the nice things about, let's say, if you buy a machine like this mechanical machine, so inside here, and I don't have, unfortunately, this one, you just can't open the valves. You can't just open the panels very easy. You have to unscrew everything, so it's a bit of a pain. But inside here is just copper tubing, a big boiler. I think it's a big brass boiler, and everything is mechanical. There's no high-tech stuff. Everything's metal. So when I first started, and we got La Marzocco's, I didn't have anything, right? I mean, meaning that I knew nothing about it. And so let me rewind. So I started with coffee in 2002. Got our La Marzocco in a 3-group linea in 2003. By 2005, we were looking to open a second location. So I needed another machine. So I found on eBay this like busted up La Marzocco Linea 2 AV, which is what they consider the two, you have the model Linea, 2 meaning the number of group heads, and then AV meaning the automatic volume dosing controllers, right? So if the other ones that just have a switch are called the EE, but these are AV machines. So this would be considered like a La Valentina AV under La Marzocco's parlance. But I knew nothing about the machine, really. I mean, I knew how to use it because I'd had one for like a year or two. But I just tore that machine apart and started fixing it, right? So basically, that's the nice thing about this, is that these machines are relatively easy to work on, if you really need to. And I really just took that machine apart, put it into like citric acid solutions to descale it and clean it up. I cleaned up the parts, I polished them. And then, most of the parts, since they're pressure fittings for the copper, compression fittings, you don't need gaskets or anything. You just reassemble them and it's done. You're like, wow, this is super simple. So these machines, the nice thing about these these all mechanical machines is they're relatively easy to work on. So they're not terribly complex. So you barely even need to have a multimeter. Like, I don't even know if you need a multimeter. Like, you could use one, but so even though you don't have necessarily a technician that you found, I would not let that be a detriment or a hindrance to you doing, because it really is a very simple type of machine. And I'm not necessarily mechanically inclined, right? Like I'm just cheap and stubborn. I'm just like, well, I need a new machine and I don't want to buy a new one. So I'm going to buy this cheap one that's on eBay, and it's totally mucked up in a lot of respects. Like when I opened up the boiler and pulled the water, like the water was black. Like I was like, well, this is disgusting. We cleaned it out. You can do it. It's totally possible. Totally possible. Good morning to you, Coffee Cove. Paplan says the mirror was supposed to check for channeling PEP issues on bottomless portafilters. Okay, good. Saw's with us. Good morning to you as well. The mirror works great when using a naked portafilter. That's it, the naked portafilter. Yeah, see, I haven't used the naked portafilter in such a while now. One thing about the meticulous, says Coffee Cove, it's supposed to be easy to clean and maintain and not much need for descaling. Ooh, all right, excellent. Okay, so let's do some cleaning. And what you need, and this is something that I couldn't find. I have no idea where my other one went. I thought I had it somewhere, but I did find a box recently because I was moving stuff. And I found a box that had this, a brand new Palo coffee tool. Oops. Now, there's a lot of different brands out there I see nowadays. And Palo is the one that came up many, many years ago. And they've been a really... they make a great tool. I love it. It's what I've been using since they came out. So like 20 plus years now. This is probably pretty old. I got this at some event, and they probably gave it to me. Like there was a whole bunch of. I used to have a bunch of these. I've used them. So this is the last one, and then they had a couple of these. These are steam cleaning wands. Yeah, steamy wand. These are for your steam cleaners. And then they have this Palo tool, the caffeine wrench. These are cool. You know, I never use this because I don't really have much of a need. What I use instead, and all my espresso machines have this, is this simple flathead screwdriver. This is a Craftsman. Whenever we install new machines, we'd buy one of these little stubbies and put that with the machine. Usually it rides. In the La Marzocco Linea, there's a little pocket on both sides of underneath the drip tray. So this would just normally live there. On this one, it lives on top in a little hole. There's a little hole for, so I'd leave it there. So you use this to, on a Linea that has a screw-in dispersion screen, you use this to unscrew and screw it back in. On this particular machine, the E61s have a press fit dispersion screen where the gasket captures the dispersion screen. You push it all up and it all locks in that way. So you use this to dig it out, right? To put this into the edge of the dispersion screen and then leverage it out against the group head. PowerPoint says you can basically see everything externally on the Medi, so it's easy to know when scale is being, oh, nice. Oh yeah, because there's no boiler on the Meticulous, right? Understood. So you really only need this. I think you only need this. So we don't, I never worry about, like I have a couple of these now because I never use them. So, but these are cool. The wrench is cool. I don't necessarily use it because I have this, right? Now this does have some other functionality. You can look it up. Oops. You can look it up. See, they've got this like wrench notches and stuff like this. So you can wrench stuff. But really the only thing that I ever find myself needing is this. This covers most everything else. And then if I need to do more serious work, I have a whole toolkit that I will use to really get into an espresso machine. So what else do you need? To clean your espresso machine, you need a basket. Oh, I need to find my basket. Where's my basket? I have to find this now. You do need a blind basket. And I'm sure all of you guys know what a blind basket is because you guys are all into it. Here we go. Here we go. My what do you call it? Is quite heavy. So this one, this is actually the basket, one of the baskets that came with the La Valentina. So you can see this is the very classic type of portafilter, old, thinner, sloping walls. This is the single shot spout, and as you can see, here's the basket for it. So the basket will come out. These are made really more to the Italian style. So you can see it's a little bit shallower than, let's say, the La Marzocco. Right, you can see the difference in depth. Like, I don't think this triple basket will fit in here. Oh, well, okay, good. And this is another reason I have this because it leverages that out. Now, in the commercial world, we typically will keep one of these. We'll keep at least, enough of one for each group head. And sometimes we may even keep extra portafilters just to use for this purpose so that while these are soaking in the solution for cleaning, this can be, working. Another thing, let's see. On the group head, right, if I take this, you've noticed that it doesn't always come forward, right? That's pretty much fully latched in. See how it's kind of off axis from the front? I think on this one, because it's made for this, oh no, I was going to say I think it comes all the way over, but it doesn't. Never mind. So cleaning your espresso machine is fairly easy. What we're going to do is we're going to take some cleaner. Now, I'm sure a lot of you guys probably have Cafiza or something like that. I don't use any of that stuff. I use this. OxiClean. OxiClean is something that we started switching to, I don't know, man. Must have been like 2008. Because at the time I was like, man, especially here in Baltimore in those days, it was difficult to get the Cafesa product type of thing, and you had to order it, and then you could order by the case, but it's expensive. Even just one little bottle is expensive, and I was like, man, why am I spending? So I started like wondering what was in it. So I started looking at the ingredient list on it. I think I looked up the MSDS safety data sheet for them, and what they disclosed was this particular chemical. And I was like, what is that? And so there's Cafesa and Ernex and Cafesa, I think they're the two, whatever, there's the two major ones. And what they listed on their MSDS were actually different ingredients. And I was like, what is that? And I looked it up, and it's basically oxygen-based cleaning solution. And I was like, huh? And I read a little bit more about it, and then I looked up what OxyClean was. And again, it's a third name. But I came to the conclusion that by reading more about them, that they were essentially the same thing. Slightly different probably, but essentially the they're oxygen-based cleaners that clean. And we started using this because you could buy this at Costco for $15. Like there's a link I have down below. I think it's $15 for like for a smaller box than this, but still huge. Like it takes a long time, even in a commercial environment where you do this every day for multiple group heads a day, it takes a while to get through this. So, and it's been awesome. Like this is a great way to go. So if you're looking for, here's one thing. Notice that this is just OxyClean, right? There's a lot of different versions out there that have like lavender. Don't get any of those. Just get this one. Plain old OxyClean, no flavor. And we'll just scoop it out here. Let's get a little bit out of here. Actually, that'll be enough for us to play around with. So far, I have one big gripe about the meticulous. I hate the portafilter handle. It comes unscrewed easily and cannot keep it tightly screwed. Oh, that's lame. You would think that in 2025 they would have basics such as this worked out. Like I've never had come to think, all the different portafilters I've used, I've never had one unscrew on me. But yeah, Loctite. Definitely use that. Although, for the money you're paying, you really at this stage, you really shouldn't have to even worry about that. Like, I have this one Lumberzoga portafilter that the rubber part came off, and so it turns out what's in there is like this extruded piece of metal that's threaded. It's kind of a hexagonal shape. I remember one day I was like, "Oh, can I take that out?" I was like, trying to take it out. I was like, "Man, it just wouldn't come out." So it meant that it's basically, super Loctited in there. It's like, it's not meant to, if it's unthreading, that's very irritating. All right, so here's our palette tool. Opened it up. All right, can I open it? Gosh, I haven't opened one of these in a long time. Now, one of the nice things about these palette tools, and we would have it, you'd use that the nice looking brush here was all mucked up looking. And the nice thing about these palette tools is that you can replace this. You just unscrew this brush once it gets all like hemajang, and you replace that. And they even sell these little replacement brush sets, right? So it's pretty nice. So you never have to worry too much. Now, one of the features on this that I liked is that when they first started out, I think they had the straight handle one, then they went to this angle one. So this keeps you away, gives you a little better handling when you're trying to scrub into here. These ribs actually, as the water's running, are like, water breakers. So they fall, the water will hit it and cause it to drip here instead of running down the handle. On this end, there's a scoop, which gives you just the right amount of OxyClean for your group head. And on the other end, there's this little black thing. This comes off. This is actually like a little metal pin, stainless pin. I don't know if you can see that there. And you use this to poke the holes of your steam wand. Now this is nice because the cover is nice because it helps you prevent you from stabbing yourself, but a lot of times you lose that. The steamy wanda is really meant to, when you get to you cleaning your steam wand, you could take this and use it to shove inside the wand, take the tip off, and then you put that in there, and it does that. So Powerplant says, watching this makes me nostalgic. When I started Espresso, same tools and everything. Oh yeah, we're all about the nostalgia here because, we haven't moved forward in life. Neighbor says, the cleaner I use is probably Cafeza, but anything that strips of oils ruins my brew lever, so it becomes so tight that it feels like it's grinding against something when I try to pull. Oh, interesting. Which is your espresso machine again? Is it the Breville, you said? I made a pilgrimage to see Gail at Seattle Coffee Gear and bought everything from them. It was such awesome. Okay, so let's go to do some cleaning. We're going to take our portafilter with the blind basket. The blind basket's the important part. We're going to take our 1 scoop, and I can just break that up. Truthfully, I never break it up. I just toss it in there. Even if there's more than what's on this scoop, it's fine. So put that in here. And now we will go to the machine. And now we're going to go to the machine, insert the blah, 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 blah into it. Oh, what should we do? Let's look first at how does it look? We need to see how is it looking now. This is why I got the camera on the tripod this way this time, because I wanted to. And I'm looking now for the light, my auxiliary light that I use. Where did it go? Like, what in the world is going on here? Okay, this is perplexing. Did it fall over somewhere? Today's sniffles are really much heavier than other days. Oh, there it is. Gosh, totally can't see it. All right, here we are. Got it. Okay, so, oops. So you can see it's fairly dirty, especially back there. Look at that. We have to scrub under there. So that's what we're going to be working on, is scrubbing in those areas. So let me just, we'll put this. This doesn't need to do anything for a little bit. So let's put this here, turn this around. Okay, good. Now, we're going to take this with our Cafeza, lock it in place, and then we're going to hit the brew button. And stop. You just heard it pressurized. People will tell you that there are a certain amount of times that you should let it run. But I have learned that it doesn't matter what, and so people will think that the pressurization is what's important. It's not. This time between the pressurizations is what's important. And why is that? Because as we pressurize it, it is pushing it into back flushing it back through the system. Oh, you can see it'll be coming in there. And then now as it's sitting there, it's going to let the chemicals do its job. And then there is a backflow valve, oops, right there. And you can see down here, there is the residual. So press the button. You hear that change? I just wait till that happens. And then now you can see that backflow kind of flows through. And you can see the water down there is already quite brown. Now they say you can do this 10 times. And you can certainly do it. Let's have a look and see what's like inside. So yeah, you can see all that stuff coming out. So if you ever came to the shop after closing and saw baristas doing this is exactly what they're doing. It's kind of boring, not terribly exciting. Now, essentially, they has the Profitec Pro 600. Oh, let me see if I can look that up. Okay, so Profitec Pro 600. That one. So tell me again what the problem is you're having. Because look at this. This is a machine that should be very similar. And you're saying that the lever. Oh, this is a lever actuated one. Oh, that's interesting. I've never used a lever one. And how the lever ones work, my understanding is that you can see this knob here. Right? There's a knob right there, a little nubbin. There's actually the manual. The way the E61 first came out, there's that's a valve, and there was a handle. You pulled up on it or pushed down. I think pulled up on it, maybe pushed down. Whatever, and that opened the valve so that it would really flow. This, of course, has more of another type of system. All right, that should be pretty good. Let's have a look and see how the interior looks. So when I open this up, as you can see, quite dirty. And we're going to flow. And now we're going to kind of do this back flushing thing, where we're just pushing it, we're trying to push it up, fill it up, and then let it run over the sides like that, right? Check that. Oh, that looks pretty good. Okay. All right, that's pretty good. Now we're going to need to scrub the portafilter, and now I'm going to show you that. Let me just readjust here so you can see better. Okay, now we're going to take our Palo tool, and we're going to let it run, and just scrub up in here. And the nice thing is you can get in there and just really just kind of dig in to the crevasses of your group head, especially here in the locking mechanism. This one I got to scrub a lot more because, you know, it's been such a long time. But now, that should give us some pretty good results. So that's fairly clean, right? That's fairly nice looking. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to remove the group head, the dispersion screen. And so like I said, when we move the dispersion screen, is that better? Yeah, that's better. We're just going to use our screwdriver, and I'm just going to feel it in here. And even though you can see this, I'm actually not watching it, right? I'm actually not even, my viewpoint And I could easily. This is what I'm seeing, right? This is what I see right there. I'm just using the force to feel here and leverage it out. Did that come out? No. Is it coming out? Oh yeah, it's coming out. Coming on this side. Oh, there we go. So there we go. There is our dispersion screen and gasket. Oh, pretty good for the cleaning. Let's go over here and have a look. We should clean off a bunch of our stuff here. Okay, so we've got our dispersion screen. And, overall, it's in fairly decent shape, but you can see here that there's an indentation where the basket rim goes in, and that's really just showing that it's old and worn, and now it should be replaced. And I think you can just replace this. Yeah, there we go. Take this off, and here's your dispersion screen. Now, typically, we would see how it's really kind of still coffee stained. In a normal service, we would actually soak this in this for like 10 minutes until it's totally clean. And then we would also soak the portafilter in along with it. We'd soak pretty much every part that we needed to in this solution. And we could do that actually. So I'm just going to keep whatever's in here. I really am kind of cavalier. Like I don't really measure anymore. Just kind of like whatever works, it works. Let me just make some hot water. Ideally, you want to use hot water for this. We would normally get it straight from the hot water towers at the shop, but even just like from the sink is pretty good. Just let it get nice and hot. Yeah, that's kind of warm enough. So I have filled up some water in here. And considering the amount of water that I have in here, the amount of OxiClean is pretty high. So we're just going to drop that in there and let it do its thing. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much all you need to do. This is all old and busted, right? So look at this. This is all, like it should be pliable. But it's cracked. It just cracked right there. Just cracked right there. Let me zoom in a little bit. Cracked right there. So basically this is going to break. Yeah, see, it's not. Should not be like that. Should not be like that. What we are going to do instead, we're going to replace it all because you know what? We should buy something nice for the machine and give it some little love. So I was looking online and I found this on Amazon from Very Barista. They're a Very Barista store. I don't know who they are. They seem kind of interesting. $35 for this kit. Comes with silicone gasket for an E61 group head. So this should be the same. Right, yeah, pretty much. It's a little bit smaller though, diameter-wise. Just slightly, like maybe 0.5 millimeter. Espresso Brewing Lab, oh, there's a, what is that for? Moly Coat 111 compound. Wow, there's a lot of stuff here. What is going on here? Power plant, I expect that you know what this is. I mean, this stuff here. I guess we're supposed to put this on the gasket. So here's a replacement basket. This one is what they call their nano coating. I was like, oh, nano coating. So $35. You get the other one for like 17, I think, or 27. So this is the, what's it called? Espresso and Brewing Lab, made in Italy. This is their nano coating. There's a nano coating on it. This is like my highest tech gear that I bought a long time. And I don't really know anything. I don't know anything about it. It looked cool. It said it was nano coating, nanotech. I was like, oh, nanotech. I like nanotech. But I thought we'd give it a try, right? So it's got this coating. You can see it's kind of rainbow shape colored, even on the back here. Reminds me of a company in the woodworking world called Bits and Bits. They take a bunch of like router bits and they put this what they call Astra coating, which is this kind of looks kind of similar to this. It's for that rainbow color. I don't know if it's any better. Gail and Kat were great together. That they were. Never says I got me conditioned to get snacks when I know what to do to fix the issue. I just don't have any strength to do it. I'm always fearful I'm going to slip up and scrape up really bad. Here's the thing. That possibility is always there. But it's inside the machine. Who's ever going to see it? No one's ever going to know. Just no one will know. No one will know. No one will know how badly you hacked it back together unless you tell them, right? It's just like I talk to guys in woodworking, you ask, and you see their pieces. I say, oh, that's really nice. And they're like, oh, yeah, well, I messed up here and I messed up here and I messed up here. It's like, why are you telling me that? I don't care about that. Nobody knows that, right? So just don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You'll be fine. With it being built up all the brown residue, does that mean you've been drinking dirty coffee this whole? Yeah, pretty much. That's what it means. So you really should be doing this service on a fairly regular basis. Like I said, especially at home, even if you're making coffee once a day, ideally, man, I cannot breathe. Ideally, you should be doing this once a week. And really, even though I'm taking a long time to do it, you could do this really quite quickly. It doesn't take that long. So, I can still see the particulates in there, which means that it's not hot enough, but it's doing its work. Power plant says, I would get an old plastic bucket and poured boiling water and citric acid, soak the bits. Oh, where's my citric? Bits and bobs, screw out the machine and rinse the bits back on and stick them back in. That's a good way to go. Anyone catch the Golden Globes? I did not. The new basket isn't as big as your old one, so maybe you can dose less. Oh, no, so sorry. If I've been saying basket, this is actually the dispersion screen. I know I probably said basket. This is the dispersion screen that goes inside the group head. So it's not, this is what the basket goes up against, right? So if we were to look here, when you actually insert, since this gasket fits over it, I'm presuming like this. The reason I'm looking at this is because this here has a chamfered edge. Well, this is a chamfered edge here, where this is a squared edge, and I'm wondering, see, this one has a squared edge on top, but there's no chamfered edge on this one either. So that's interesting. I wonder then, it tells me that that the chamfered edge should probably go into the machine so that it's easier to insert. But so we basically sits there like this, right? This is a silicone gasket now. And then here, it works like that. And then the water is pressurized through this dispersion screen. And the idea is that as the water hits it, it spreads out. And we're not talking like it's not coming down like, it doesn't have that much space. There's actually a block, a thermal block that actually sits in this hollow. That sits in this hollow. This is the dispersion block, right? The thermal block. And so see this little slit here? Let me zoom in. I probably could have done a better job cleaning that. But as you can see here, there is this slit, and this slit, you can actually, I think on this particular group head, you can put a big flat-headed somehow eventually twist that out to get into to take apart the group head. But this is where the water comes out of. So the water comes out of here under pressure, hits this, and disperses across. So theoretically, it hits this, and the theory is that it disperses across of here, comes out through the screen, and then into the basket where the coffee is. So that's essentially how it works. And so to put this back in, actually, we might as well do that now. Although this moly coat, I'm presuming this moly coat is to coat this somehow. So we'll try it. We'll try it. I don't know anything about this. Like, I've never used this. Normally, we just shove it in there. I'm a guy from the 80s, so we're just used to shoving it in. No finesse, just like desperate that we're going to lose the moment. That's just shove it in right away. Just shove it. Don't worry about it. Before they say no, right? It's like, that's very it's very un-PC, isn't it? Sorry. All right, there's a lot of moly coat in here. I can't imagine that we would need that much. It feels like a big, thick Vaseline. So appropriate for what we're doing. Okay, there we go. Now we got that. I got the rubber lubed up. Right, rubber's lubed up around the hole, so it's good. So now we're going to put it in. We're going to use some apparatus to put it in. So one of the easy, you could just shove it in like this, or just shove it in like that, but really it's easier if you use the portafilter because it gives you better, more even dispersion. Whoops. Come on, get in there. Okay. Oh, look how far that comes over now. That was tough. That was tough. Take it out. All right. So now it's totally inserted and positioned inside the group head. See, there it is. All done. Oh, now I got some. Now I got some Molly Bendham, whatever that stuff is, on the screen. Let's make sure that's not so bad. Okay, so that's ready, and we can test it out by hitting the switch. Oh, look at the dispersion on that. Oh, that looks lovely. Oh, yeah. Sauce says a little dab will do. Thank you. You're right. You're totally right. Let's see what else we have here. So let's see. Now it says, no, it's that huge nut holding the lever in place that I can't get off. So if I slip, I'll scratch or even dent the surface of the machine. That would bother me. Okay, so maybe in that case, like, I mean, here's the thing. I honestly don't know enough about, but why do you need to take off the nut, the big nut? And on this, like, so on this machine, it's just this nut, right? This one here, where the lever would be on a manual machine. Is yours a manual machine or just like this? I presume you said a lever. But the question is, why do you need to take that off? If it's the lever or whatever. I'm wondering if maybe you don't need to take it off. The lead actress in Progress won the Best Female Actor. Oh, awesome. I need to finish watching that. She was also constantly snubbed when she was on Better Call Saul. Oh, I never saw Better Call Saul. Espresso Bikes loves this. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Powerplant says start for the Academy starts this week. Ooh, I do like that. Robert Picardo's coming back as a teacher. Paul Giamatti looks like the bad guy. And Holly Hunter. I love Holly Hunter. But what I want to know, since I watched a lot of Star Trek Discovery, where's Tilly? Like Tilly was the one that was going to go with me, the crossover from Discovery to Starfleet Academy, and like I've seen almost nothing with Tilly in it, so I'm very disappointed. Now he says hubby's not home, so I can watch it. Does he not like Star Trek? Who did you marry? Like, who is this guy? I have to take the nut off to release the lever to lubricate it when it gets super tight. Okay, so here's a strategy that might be something to consider as you're considering how to do this. And I'm going to see how this comes off in this one, but let's have a look here. So if you look at yours, let's zoom back out. Pay no attention to the dirtiness on the underside. Pay no attention. But here, I would, so this back panel and this under panel is one piece. It's probably more involved, but I would look at to see how you would take this off. Like on this particular machine, I guess on this particular machine, I would have to remove this screw. There's a screw there. There's another matching two screws on the other side, and I would have to remove the entire back housing and probably get access to whatever screws are holding this panel in place. And I would take that off, or if you don't want to do all that work, maybe find some like cloth, thicker cloth, and shove it back there so that when you're trying to leverage on it, it'll be protected. I mean, that's a lot of times, even in commercial espresso machine repair, you're going to do things like that instead of having to take the machine apart, just because it's a lot more work to take it apart, right? Okay, so we're pretty much done now. That's pretty much everything that you need to do to clean your espresso machine. Now, like I said, on the Palo tool, I'll show you this. So the Palo tool does have this little accessory. You take this off. We always lost these little rubber boots. The idea here is that you're going to use this to clean your, oh, that's tight. I never like to keep these on too tight, but basically, you see, oh, look at that. See, that's not nice. Look, that's not nice. So here, when the time we talk about cleaning your steam wand, I always talk about you holding my hand in a way so that my thumb holds the towel so it rubs underneath it. You can see here that's not always effective, right? Like look at that. But then again, I don't always wipe this immediately because we're doing drinks and talking about them. But there's a lot of buildup that happens, so you want to make sure you scrub this off. But this little tool here is really meant to poke the holes. So just, like that. You're just gonna you don't have to go you can be gentle. You don't have to go so hard. You don't have to go fast. You can just, vary your speed as necessary. Just put it in there, this hole, and then go to the other hole. Make sure it's nice and clean. And that's essentially all you have to do. Now the Palo Steamy Wanda, well, I'll show you how to use this. This is designed for use with the steam wand itself, whereas this is for the orifices on your tip, right? This now, let me turn this over here a little bit, is for your steam wand, right? So you take this, and it's kind of like a pipette. So if you've ever had like testing done at the free lab, this is kind of what they do, right? And you just kind of put it in there gently. Don't do too hard. It's so far. It burns. You pull it out. Oh gosh, don't pull it out too hard. But you could just scrub it out. And the way these bristles are designed, so it's easy to insert, easy for insertion, and then it gives a lot of abrasion, a lot of ribbing when you pull it back out, right? So that's the thing. You can go pretty fast, and then you're gonna pull it really like that, like right. And then you can do a little twisting, and then like a little twisting is good. A little twisting, and you can just show the milk that you're just not tolerating it building up inside your steam wand, right? There it is. Oh, it got bent. Oh, so sorry. Okay. So I think that's pretty much most everything that I would do normally to clean an espresso machine. We did our flushing. We replaced the gasket, which was great because this thing needs really a new gasket because that was just a little bit too much. And now we should probably do a shot to see where we are and see how it does. Nikki Glazer, the host of GG, roasted George Clooney and acted like he was an espresso. The paddle brush also had that little that spoon to measure the coffees. Yes. And then this is not what? We're just cleaning the espresso machine. It's not like it's such dirty minds. This is why we can't have nice things in the world. Okay, so let's do some coffee. I brought some coffee today. So here's the latest of our espresso until today, and then we're roasting more. I'm roasting more this afternoon, but we're talking about 3 pounds of espresso in here or so. So there it is, our espresso. All right, so we're going to put this in the big grinder. Goodness. Whoa! Making a mess. This is a new bucket. I just got this harvested from a bakery. Whew, man. Okay. Let me just get all these errand beans that fell out. If you spill some beans, it is perfectly okay to pick them up and use them for yourself because, it's just for yourself. And as long as they're not wet, should be fine. Okay, so now, Nirma says, I've always wondered if it matters how many holes are on the steam wand tip and why isn't it standard? So yes, it does matter. It can matter, right? So for example, this steam wand tip. So some of the things that are going to, dictate the way the wand will work is that, first of all, how big is the boiler, right? The boiler, the bigger the boiler, the more steam that it can produce. The more powerful the heating element, the more steam it can maintain, right? So in a commercial, let's say like a Lumberzocco, what is the big power of like a Lumberzocco or these big commercial machines is the capacity, right? So you've got these boilers. So let's say this is the boiler. Right? So the boiler here will you'll put the water in and there'll be a heating element into it and it will heat the boiler up. Now, you would think that maybe you fill it all the way up, but really you're only filling the boiler up to about there. Because your heating element is here, so you want to keep the water above the heating element line so that you don't get it doesn't destroy it. And we're talking like 220 volts, like 30 amps of power. So it can pull a lot of power. But you have it here, and so you keep some air gap because this boiler, the steam boiler, is pressurized. It's pressurized to what? 1.5 bar, something like that. About 240 to 250 degrees Fahrenheit. But that heated water, because there's an air gap, is generating steam. And where the water is not, steam is here. So the more space you can have for your steam, the more steam you have available to use. And the better the wattage of your boiler and your machine, the more it can replenish that steam on demand. Like if I have any Lombarzoco, I can run that machine full blast, both steam ones on full blast with all three groups heads running, and I will not get performance degradation from it because it's got so much oomph. On smaller machines, it's going to be necessarily less because the boiler may be just this size, right? It's a really small boiler comparatively, which is going to have, I think this one has a vertical boiler. So it's got the heating element in it, and then it's got this smaller air space for the steam wand. And then the delivery of that is going to be a little more challenging because if you look at this one, this steam wand, like it may not look like this to you, and you may think, oh, this is normal, but really this is actually really, really a thin, narrow diameter, inner diameter pipe. So the ability for this to deliver a lot of pressure or a lot of steam is limited by this as well. Now, from that point here, now we go to the steam wand tips. On a typical Lombarzoco older school model, the steam, so you see this one here is very cylindrical, right? It's very cylindrical. It's basically just a cylinder. It has two holes, and there's a slight chamfer here. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, slight chamfer right there. And then the two holes. So that chamfer gives the holes will shoot out. Let me go over here. It's a little bit harder that close. The chamfer here will have the steam shoot out at slight angles. The more you chamfer this edge, the more you can get a spread. Now, if we looked at a Lombarzoco ones, the ones that I like, they have three holes in a triangular pattern. The chamfer is slightly heavier, so it shoots out at a more stronger angle. But the machine also has a lot more power, which is really, really great. Now, there's many different tips for different purposes, and that Lombarzoco one, the three hole, is a great all-around steam one. Now, if you were to go there if you were to get a Lombarzoco, big 3-group or 2-group, and you were to go from your machine at home and go to that one, you would find it probably to be a bit overpowered. Like you're like, oh my gosh, so much to control, right? It just takes time to like get used to it. That's really all it is. They all work essentially the same, but that 3-hole group really just gives it, the 3-hole nozzle really gives it a lot of like twist, right? So it's easier for me to get that but the power is also power thin, right? There's so much more power in that I can get a 20-ounce pitcher to twist and roll and steam really well and fast, where this takes a long time. This is like a lot more, requires a lot more work to get similar results. And I also struggle having great results with this because it's just not something I'm used to, and it's just, I'm making excuses, really. I just don't have the talent to do that. But now there's another type of 2-hole nozzle that we used to use. So like one of the problems with the 3-hole nozzle is that if you're doing a 20-ounce latte or 12-ounce latte using a 20-ounce pitcher, no problem. Plenty of power, perfectly easy to work with. But if you wanted to make a cappuccino using this 12-ounce pitcher filled out to about there, you really had to have a lot of control over that wand and the way in your technique, because otherwise it's very easy for it to overpressurize it. And if you drop it too fast, it will, shoot up in your face. And so we started using a little tiny 2-hole nozzle that had a very significant chamfer. Like the chamfer was like almost a point. So it really shot the steam at a very strong angle, but it was very small. Like the orifices were really tiny. So it really, you could do very controlled steaming and get very, very fine textured milk with that nozzle that you couldn't get with the Lombarzoco. You could probably this is somewhere in between those two, but this machine just doesn't have that kind of power, right? So it's a balance of all those different factors as to what kind of results you can, that makes it easier to get certain results. That's really what Naomi says, are you sure there's a bucket we can't see? Well, just that one, just that bucket, just this one. I normally use 5-pound buckets or 5-gallon buckets at the roastery, but I was at a bakery recently and they had these for sale. I was like, hey, can I buy one of those? They're like, yeah, they're $1. I was like, oh, $1. All right, I'll take one of those. These are like 3-gallon buckets, I think. But I thought it'd be cool to have one so that'd be easier for me to bring coffee here. Just because it's smaller and it looks cool. Why is it standardized? Mainly because, you know, people want to do different things. That's all. That's all. And also, if you had like, if you put the, and I've never done this, but they're all threaded the same, so you can easily switch them. I don't think I've ever tried the Marzocco 3-hole on this one. It probably wouldn't do as well because it just doesn't have the kind of oomph that machine has. I mean, I'm pretty sure they probably went to the 2-hole because that has the right amount of resistance to the amount of force that this machine can deliver, something like that. I don't know. I'm totally making that up at this point. Now he says, I would think less power, less holes, but the Bambino has 4. Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, I think it's just more stylistic choice, I guess. All right, so now that we've got it all ready, let's go and try making some coffee. Let me just plug this grinder back in. And we will use our scale to see what there is to see. Where's our portafilter? Oops. .582, tear that out, excellent. Now, one of the things that we've been doing here, one of the things about this that we're going to have an issue with, maybe, probably, almost certainly, is that since we've been doing all of this work, this has just been sitting out. So this is nowhere near as warm as it used to be. So I think we're going to try to like jumpstart a little bit by just running some hot water through it, just to try to re-energize the heat on this sucker. We'll let it drip out for a little bit. Good. Let me readjust this and come a little bit. I will switch the camera so it doesn't make you all ill. I don't think moving cameras are ever fun. Okay, we're ready. Okay, now time. Okay, so we've got our, we let it drip out, so we've got our portafilter. Everything's nice and clean now. Look at this. So nice. Okay, good. Oh, we need to, we're so close now. We're so close. All right, so the coffee's in there. We're going to use the grind setting we had the last time that we were doing this and see where we are. Whoops. All right, there we are, boulders. Let's see how much coffee it dispensed for us. 21 grams. Oh my gosh, look at that. I feel like a magician suddenly, a magician. All right, let's go back over here. So as you can see, the way that I dispensed it has some bouldering here. There's a little bit of a valley there, and it's very high. So you can see it's overflowing on that side. So we're going to come, this time, we haven't, a lot of times I've been doing this way. Now we're just going to go this way, push it towards that valley. I want to run it over, so I'm going to come back around this way, push away from the valley. Now we got to come back here, push it down, come back. Every time it's going to be a little bit different, at least for me. And I'm going to move it differently to get it to work. Now, actually, that's pretty good volume. Now we're going to take this. Let's see here. Let's go down a little bit and twist. Okay, now, right? Okay. So put this here. Just like I said, I like to sit it on top, and then I use my fingers to go on both sides of the portafilter. And remember, I'm actually feeling the top edge of this and the basket top edge here, and I'm using that on opposing fingers as I move my hand around, and I'm using my sense of feel to feel the level of the tamper, because I want it to be level, and that's very level. That's pretty level. Here's the interesting thing. Your fingers are super sensitive. It's something like 5,000ths you can feel the sensitivity of your fingers. So rely on your fingers, rely on your sense of touch. Then we're going to take it off, come back, make sure you have the right grip on it. Then come down, press, slight twist, quarter turn. And there it is, all done. Now we're just going to go over here, get rid of the excess. Good, good. And then let's double check just for S&Gs. We're a little bit low, we lost a 0.1 gram. That's all right, 20.9, so 21 grams. Again, don't get locked. I don't like people to get locked up in the whole like 1/10 of a gram thing. Just stay with the whole gram. It'll be fine. Okay, now, oops. Let's go back here. Let's go a little bit. Let me adjust this. Let me just adjust. All right, there we go. Now better. Okay, so we're going to flush, make sure that it runs clean. It's going to run clean because we've been, we've been cleaning it the whole time. And then lock and load. Oh my gosh. Look how far that's over now. It used to only come here, like if this is 6 o'clock. It used to be like it's 7:30. Now we're at like 5 o'clock. Oh, we're at 5:30. I was like, wow, that's pretty good. All right, let's brew. Oh, no leaking. Look, there's no leaking. Oh. Look at that. No leaking, huh? My hands are fine. Oh, that's good. I think that's good. Yeah, a little bit of blonding down there. All right, let's go look at it. All right, so there we go. We've got our nice looking espresso. Oh, that actually looks pretty darn good. A little bit of blonding right there, right? So, and then there's some burbujas there. So let's make that nice and presentable as we would do it in a cafe. All right, now let's have a taste. Oh, a little bit on the bitter side. Perhaps we need to lighten up on the grind. All right, we'll have to save that for another episode. My profit that came, my profit that came with a 2-hole, but the 4-hole better. Not necessarily. It all depends. I mean, you could try it. I mean, the reason we started using the 2-hole because the 2-hole came out, and I was like, oh, let's get one of those and let's try it out and see if it works for what we need to do. And it did at the time. So would a 4-hole be better? I don't know. I mean, it could be. It allows more flow, but then again, does the machine have enough oomph to push more air through it? That I don't know. Remember, says I would think less power has less holes, but Bambino has 4. Gotcha. All right. So there it is. And then here's our basket. Before let's see. This has just been sitting in kind of lukewarmy water. Let's have a look at the espresso's pretty good. A little heavier on the bitters, but let's see what we got here. So it's just been sitting. So I can scrub this with my finger. And what we would normally do is if we were reusing this, we would take the palette tool and then use it. And then just get in there with the scrubby brush. Just to rub off any of those excess coffee oils and stuff like that. I would be doing this normally under a sink. And then now we will take this to the sink, rinse it off. I think the activation of the chemicals will work better if it was hotter, but it still works pretty well. Not bad. You see a little bit of like coffee residue under there. That's what I'm saying. It probably would be better if we did the with hot water, we get in better. But now here's something else. This is also the original screen. This is a 20-year-old screen. So not too bad. Not too bad. All right. There it is. A little bit of how to clean your espresso machine. Hope that helps to give any kind of insight into how you might do it at home. It's fairly easy. It's something you really should do on a regular basis. You know, if you're at home, you're making a shot a day. You know, if you did it weekly, that'd be really, really great. You could probably stretch it out to like every 2 weeks, once a month. But the more you make espresso, the more you want to clean the machine on a more frequent basis, right? So you kind of have to balance it. Also, you want to consider like, you might say, well, I only make shots like 3 times a week. So if it's 100 shots, then I can wait till, you know, June before cleaning it. Well, you could, but that's the potential downside is that there are oils that are going to be building up inside your machine, and they can contribute to off flavor. So your coffee could start to taste kind of off and weird, and you may not enjoy it as much. So it's a better practice to do it at least once every 2 weeks, I would say. So, oh yeah, that's a big difference. See, it's a big difference. It's a big difference. All right, well, that's it for today. Thank you very much for tuning in. We a little bit of an epic episode here, but hope you have a great day out there or night in whatever part of the world you may be in. Back again tomorrow with more of the Coffee Q&A. We may change right now we're scheduled to do this blending thing, but we may change that in the next 24 hours. But either way, back tomorrow. So hope you have a wonderful day and see you next time.